Hey, this is Stacy from Let's Cook, y'all. Welcome back to our channel. If you're new, welcome. We're so glad you're here. We hope you'll enjoy the content on our channel and you'll consider hitting that big red subscribe button. We're back with a brand new edition in our weekly What's for Dinner video. We've got several easy weeknight meals to share with you guys and then some bonuses at the end. We have had an extremely eventful week in our house. Thanks so much for watching. The first meal we have for you guys this week was a labor of love. This one was for Tim. Boiling water, copious amounts of salt because potatoes love salt. Yep, I made a mess. I put some Ritz crackers, or if you're being politically correct, round buttery crackers in a Ziploc and beat them. This is my Chicago cutlery knife sharpener. Has a flat edge, works for me. I took a package of ground beef. I'm going to make some, hamburger patties, hamburger steak, Salisbury steak. I added a beaten egg, some onion, some garlic powder, onion powder, white pepper, and steak seasoning, Worcestershire, and the cracker crumbs. Save that for the gravy. Hot pan, cold oil, and I do go ahead and put these in there one at a time, trying to leave a fair amount of space between them. Makes it a little easier to flip them when the time comes. This is why I usually mute when I show you guys when I'm cooking, because it gets pretty loud in my kitchen. I added butter, half and half, and salt and pepper to the smashed potatoes. And because apparently I needed more skillets to wash, I got another one out, put a little olive oil and some zucchini spiralized noodles to saute in this one. And over in my big skillet, once the hamburger steaks were browned off, I used the drippings and sauteed the onions, put some cornstarch, because I have it, some of this Tony Chachere's brown gravy mix, but you can make a brown gravy any which way you like. I made some, I don't know if you call these hamburger steak patties, meatloaf patties, or Salisbury steak. I honestly don't know the difference between them. I made a quick gravy. Normally with red potatoes, I would roast them, but I think with this kind of a patty and the gravy, it does better to mash them. So I mashed some red potatoes, spiralized some zucchini and cooked it. And we've got some brown bread, Cheesecake Factory ones from the freezer, and some honey butter. This is Tim's meat and potatoes meal.
Is this not Stacy's good patties?
I hope they're Stacy's good patties.
Stacy's delicious patties?
It's not much of a name. I will let you taste it and see if you can give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That is what's for dinner today. Are you excited?
I am.
Awesome. That's what's for dinner. Still on the stove top. I'm avoiding my oven and using my stove, air fryer, crock pot, instant pot. To some oil, I sauteed some onions. I added some oregano, some Trader Joe's elote seasoning, some Southwest chipotle, some cumin, and some chili powder. I really like to toast my spices. I thought it was a little dry, so I added a little bit more olive oil and then toasted my spices for a couple of minutes before the next ingredient. For Taco Tuesday this week, we're making some black bean enchiladas, so I added 1 can of drained and rinsed black beans and then 1 cup of salsa. Once the mixture is heated through, I take it off the heat and then add 1 heaping cup of shredded cheese, any kind you like, and mix it up. This step is totally optional. I decided today that I would mash some of the beans with a fork. I usually leave them whole, but I just felt like mashing them today. Then you take the mixture, put however much you like down the center of a flour tortilla. You can put more cheese if you like. Normally I roll these up and place them in a sprayed either 9x9 or 11x7 pan and do them in the oven. Like I said, I'm avoiding the oven, so I just put them in my little West Bend crock pot and heated them up that way. They basically, everything's already cooked. You just need to spread some either enchilada sauce or salsa on top and some cheese, and then just bake until the cheese is melted and everything's heated through. So I just did that in my little West Bend crock pot. To go with the enchiladas, I decided to make what is turning into be a perennial favorite here. I feel like I'm kind of on repeat showing this Mexican corn salad to you guys, but every time we show it, we get numerous questions and comments about it. As long as I've got that bag of cotija cheese, I will continue to make it because unlike a Food Network show, we have to use ingredients until they're used up around here. For another side, I wanted to do some rice. Rather than using white or brown rice out of my freezer, I took a package of this, I think it's Royal brand. It's a microwavable 90-second rice, and I heated it up on the stovetop. Sadly, the package was chicken flavor, so I had to work really hard adding seasonings and salsa to get it to taste Tex-Mex. So I felt like some Taco Tuesday or some Mexican. It's still pretty warm here today. I didn't feel like running the oven, so I just did some enchiladas in the crock pot. Made a Mexican corn salad. Took a package of rice, added some seasonings and salsa to it. We've also got some little guacamole cups from the freezer for chips. We will make our plates. It's fiesta in our house today. I made a Instant Pot soup using potatoes. Whenever I buy a big bag at Kroger, I like to make potato soup. I think we've made this one and shown it once before on the channel. I like it because it uses common ingredients that I always have on hand, and I will leave a link to the recipe below. What I like about this one is you use a steamer basket to get the potatoes above the liquid, and you do go ahead and peel them, showing you the peeler. But let me show you how we make this one. Start off by putting the Instant Pot on saute. You can leave it on normal or go less or high. I'll end up going less. I always put my hand over it to feel because it does take a while to heat up. Then once the Instant Pot inner liner is hot, I'll add some oil and start sauteing the onions. When they're about soft and translucent, I'll add the garlic the last 30 seconds or so. Then I add the seasonings. I stick with the recipe, but I do add some extra things that are just my addition. So we put in some black pepper, some kosher salt, the white pepper, which is my addition, some red chili flakes, as much or as little as you like, dried parsley, and I also add onion powder and garlic powder. We want to stir these around and toast them, and then slowly start pouring in some of the chicken broth. I used a big carton, but you could use two 14-ounce cans. So I take half of it, 14 ounces, and start deglazing the bottom, scraping everything, making sure nothing is sticking. That's how we get the burn notice, which thankfully, knock on wood, I have not had yet, because I'm diligent to scrape the bottom and make sure that nothing is sticking and get enough of the liquid in there. Remember, you need 1 cup for a 6-quart Instant Pot to be able for it to come to pressure and cook. Also my addition, every potato soup I make, stovetop or otherwise, I put a dash of dried thyme. Then it's time to put the steamer basket in it and add the potatoes. And don't miss it, I'm klutzy. See, one went overboard onto the floor. Don't worry. Got all the potatoes in there, and then put the lid on, lock it in place, and put it in the sealed position. We will cook it 4 minutes on high pressure and then let it sit for 5 and then do a quick release. The recipe that I used as a guideline called for cooking up 6 slices of bacon in a skillet and then crumbling them. Rather than doing that, I took a couple of good handfuls of these real crumbled bacon bits from a big bag from Sam's Club, crisped them up in the skillet. We'll put most of them in the soup and save a handful for garnish. It took it about 10-12 minutes to come to pressure, then it cooked for 4 minutes. We've let it sit in PR for 5. Now I'm going to do what you're not supposed to do, which is put a towel over it and start releasing the pressure. I don't want soupy soup all over my countertop. Once the pressure is released, the pin will drop. We'll open it up. Be careful of the steam coming out, and then very carefully, klutzy girl will try to get all the potatoes out without dropping any more of them, which I did. Yay! We will cancel the pressure cook mode and go back to saute. Stir up the liquid. I'm going to add a cornstarch slurry. This is equal parts cornstarch and water. I used 2 tablespoons for the recipe. And let this start to thicken up before we add the cheeses, and I am going to add a little bit more seasoning before we put the potatoes back. And that's already getting too hot, so I'm going to hit the saute again and go to low or less. We like our potato soups good and cheesy. That's why I like this recipe. It uses 3 ounces of softened cream cheese that we're going to soften and incorporate really well, and then a good heaping cup of a shredded cheese. I did shred this from a block. Thyme when I'm cooking the potatoes, and then a dash of chipotle chili powder. It doesn't make it spicy, it just gives it a little background flavor. I don't use much. Are the 2 things that I always add to potato soups no matter what the recipe says. So the cheeses have melted. We will add in the rest of the broth, the half and half, put the potatoes back in, and some or most of the bacon, and we will have Instant Pot potato soup, chunky potato soup. If you want to smash any of the potatoes, make it a little thicker. We'll leave mine whole. Really quick today, I made some potato soup in the Instant Pot. We've got some bacon bits, chives out of the little pot that grows on my back patio, some of the cheese that I saved. I made us a salad to split, and we've got some brown bread, brown rolls, the Cheesecake Factory. Got those at Kroger. Soup is not Tim's favorite thing to eat in the summer, but I love potato soup. When I buy a bag of potatoes, I always make it. Soup and salad is what's for dinner today. For the past several summers, we've been so blessed to be able to see a bunch of our family, our nieces and nephews that are out on summer break. We had a couple of crews at our house. We started off from Raising Cane's with a 50-pack, tailgate pack of chicken fingers, a big pan of fries, coleslaw, Texas Coast, and their great Raising Cane sauce. Chicken fingers are always well received around our house. For another meal, we ordered a bunch of pizzas from Pizza Hut. I think that was the meats. That was the Supreme, which Tim always likes. For those that don't like everything on it, we got a pepperoni, and there's our nephew Henry and Ava Claire in from Texas, and everyone's consensus, this stuffed crust pizza was everybody's favorite. Then we made another batch of homemade ice cream for everybody to enjoy. And right smack dab in the middle of having family over, guess what broke? None of the buttons work. So this is a goner. And this is the world's handiest husband with some kind of weird lights around his neck, blinded by the light, and a new microwave. Thank you, sweetheart.
Don't thank me yet, did it? You haven't seen it run.
That's true. It's not in there yet. Tim drove to Lowe's, purchased it, installed it in about an hour. Thank you, sweetheart. You make my life so much easier. Thanks so much for stopping by. Take care. Have a wonderful and truly blessed day.